Senpai done broke it with this one. And I don't mean so much just like, oh man, there's a lot of cool stuff in the next update, and oh man, it's gonna be really cool to try out these things. No, no, no. 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 Now he just straight up added Deadly Strike, Open Wounds, and Crushing Blow as stats that you can get on rare items and crafted items. So with our second sneak peek into what Season 3 will hold for Project Diablo 2, Senpai Something and team has made it abundantly clear the direction that they want to go in as far as super chase items and overall health of the season. And the way that they are imbuing their season with additional length and organic longevity is in a massive overhaul to how rare and crafted items are going to work moving forward. What do I mean by that? What you see on the screen right now are expected changes to stats that you can now roll on rare items and, by proxy, crafted items in the game now. You are just going to be able to find rare weapons that now have Deadly Strike, Open Wounds, and Crushing Blow, which are those typically set for set and unique piece item stats that are now just available in the game on random stuff that you're going to pick up. Not only that, these are now available as affixes on crafted items. Let me repeat that. Your crafted items are now going to be able to have stats like Deadly Strike, Open Wounds, and Crushing Blow as one of your 4 affixes. Crafting these amazing items to be able to then slam them for Hybrid, ED, or Deadly Strike, Crushing Blow, increased attack speed, those types of things. You can now just get those strong weapon modifiers on your craft before you even slam it. Oh, and obviously, looking here, not meaning to overstep this particular change. Bows, crossbows, daggers, throwing knives and throwing axes and not throwing spears, that's very important. Clubs, maces, and Amazon javelins are now just going to be able to roll 400 ED as one of your affixes. Straight out. Now, something really important to note here is that as it stands right now, the game is hard-coded to have a maximum of 511 enhanced damage on weapon. It cannot exceed that point. So, you're not going to be able to get something like 1,000 enhanced damage depending on what affixes you roll. But in the stream, Senpai Something was talking about the idea of potentially removing this cap to be able to increase the modability moving forward. Now, that would mean that a lot of characters would have to brick unless they were to drop any items that have enhanced damage on them as it stands right now. So it's a bit of a back and forth with the community of whether or not this is a really good change, but it's something that might be in the works. So now, rather than go through every single change for affixes, which are now available on rare and crafted items, and go through one by one, I'm going to quickly highlight the ones that I think are the most important for you to walk away with understanding. First and foremost, faster cast rate is now going to be a rare and craftable affix on items that otherwise were only available through auto-craft mods. So, armors, shields, gloves, and belts, as well as scepters in some cases, are now going to be able to roll faster cast rate in addition to the crafted fasted cast rate from the caster crafts. Senpai has gone forward and said that these items, or at least the craft auto mods, are going to be reworked because this might be too strong if they just stacked as they currently were. So we're not going to see 40 faster cast rate gloves or anything like that, but we're going to see a higher percentage, and this is now just available on rare items across the board. An additional piece would be that physical damage reduction, percentile physical damage reduction, is now going to be available on armor, shields, belts. And because of this, safety crafts are going to have their physical damage reduction values decreased as well. I believe Senpai said something like a 30% physical damage reduction percentile cap on shields, but again, these numbers are a little bit in flux and may change due to the beta. Another incredibly important change is that rare and crafted armors moving forward, as well as shields and helms, will be able to roll with +1 to character skills. So you can have a +1 to sorceress skill hat, or a +1 to sorceress skill shield, or a +1 sorceress skill armor, as long as it is rare or crafted. Now, this won't stack with other sources of plus to skill, meaning you couldn't get +1 to barbarian skills on your helmet, and then also +2 to barbarian skills on your helmet as an additional affix. So this is going to be in the same pool. This is the same reason why you couldn't get +2 to barbarian skills and +3 to war cries on an item. So it follows the same rules, but early game items are going to have plus to skills available on shields, armors, and helmets. And then these could also roll with that faster cast rate I was just talking about. And if you're crafting Lobby gear, you could get this and your FCR and your auto mods, which might have FCR or plus to skills depending. So this is a really big change that's going to drastically help that mid-game section where people are looking to transition either into really powerful rune words or really powerful unique armors, and they haven't found them yet. Your crafted items are now just more powerful, and random rare items that you can pick up off the ground are also just going to be more valuable. Another super important change is that skills which previously actually couldn't spawn on amulets and circlets now can. This is most notably important for the Amazon, where you actually couldn't get javelin and spear skills on an amulet or a circlet. You could get plus to Amazon skills, but not the actual skill trees. And in addition to that, you couldn't get +3 at all on magic items for these same skill trees. So those are now available, which is really important. Now, I know that this is something that not everybody is going to want to pay attention to, but for somebody like a speedrunner, as well as the changes to faster cast rate and overall plus to skills, which will be available for hell runs, the team has put in a lot of effort to have more attack rating mods and percentile attack rating mods available on rare items and crafted items so that you can easily pick up these stats earlier in a run, which will generally help to even the playing field for melee characters who otherwise struggle by the time that they get into Nightmare or even on normal Bale. In addition to that, attack rating is available on more sources, i.e. helmets and armors, whereas previously they had really low caps. They now have these higher value attack ratings available in their total affix pool. Like some changes seen here, you're going to be able to have percentile attack rating available where it previously wasn't. Another incredibly big change comes to rare jewels. Again, all of these affixes and stats that you're seeing here are supposed to be available on rare and crafted versions of items that they previously weren't. Well, if you're looking right now, enhanced damage and max damage are now available on rare jewels, whereas previously they weren't. Now, a lot of people in chat were saying, what's the point of magic jewels if you're putting ED, max damage, and all these other great mods onto rare jewels? Won't I just want to have more affixes? Keep in mind that increased attack speed is still restricted to magic jewels, so you're not going to be able to find your 40-15 jewels in a rare form, but you are going to be able to find huge max damage jewels in the rare form. That was the kind of deviation that Senpai really wanted to hammer on. It's that if you're looking for that IAS, you still need magic. If you're looking for pure damage, you want to go for rare jewels. And I think this is a really good change moving forward. Rare jewels have always been powerful, don't get me wrong, but not really in the sphere for melee damage or for physical damage dealing builds. And now they have the availability, and then they can also get that stuff like fast rate recovery, res, additional bonuses like attack rating, some of those really cool niche rare jewels that previously just weren't good enough. Something that's incredibly important to note, which I didn't cover earlier, is that the faster cast rate mod and the physical damage reduction mod are actually in the same affix group. Now what that means is that you are not going to be able to roll your faster cast rate and your physical damage on the same piece of gear from these new additions. Now, I know you might be saying, hey, Mac, that's all well and good. I like the Spark Notes edition, but what can I do with this? How is this actionable? How can I actually capture all of this information? Well, I went and did that for you. I'll be adding a link to the spreadsheet that I've made that includes all of the affixes and what affix level that they are now available on the item types that they are available, with a color code for prefixes and suffixes, and easy to read stat section so you know exactly what you're getting. And then all you have to do is follow the spreadsheet until you see the item type that it's on and what level it is available. So as per an example, the Perfection mod is available at affix level 59 on circlets, boots, rings, amulets, shields, bows and crossbows, and that's it. So I will include a link to this as well if this is still a bit too overwhelming, hey, that's really good information, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to move forward using this. I've also included a link above in the footnotes section to our overall crafting guide for Diablo 2 and specifically Project Diablo 2 that goes over how do you do it, how do you calculate, what level do you need to be, what level does the item need to be, what bases can you use. All of that information is included there, and the link is right here in the footnotes section. Look at that. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba. And now you're here, and now you can watch it. For this, I tried to include notes in case it wasn't abundantly clear exactly what was meant by the header. I am using very classic header descriptions from the wiki, but not a lot of those were intuitive, so I included some additional notes above. And then in addition to that, I tried to generally group together the types of affixes that Senpai was talking about at any one time. One last note about the spreadsheet in general. There were some affixes that didn't actually have item levels next to them, or appeared to just be a copy and paste from the original wiki, but he had talked about specific changes. So you might find some asterisks or some to be determined. When Senpai makes that information available, hopefully it's in the next Reddit post with the various updates, we can go through and update this here. If you find any glaring mistakes that I've made, so if you're a super nerd like me, and you went, hey, I also created something, or I looked into this, let me know down in the comments and we'll make the edits to here so that this is a living, breathing document and it's as up to date as possible for all of the new changes. I'm also going to be posting all this information in the Discord and be willing to answer questions there. So if you haven't been there yet, check out the link below to the Discord, where I'm going to be keeping a lot more of these types of resources, as well as just generally instigating conversation about Season 3 moving forward. Now, we obviously are going to be playing the season moving forward on our Twitch channel, so if you only watch me here on YouTube, consider heading over to Twitch to leave a follow there. I would really appreciate it, and I'd love to see you there. It's another great avenue to get access to me and get access to getting your questions answered, because YouTube isn't always the best forum for getting information out to the general populace, especially if your question is multifaceted or has a lot of information that would just be better dumped on you in a verbal way as opposed to through text. Now, if you've been appreciating these videos, consider subscribing to the channel. We're really close to hitting the 2,000 subscriber mark, and I'd really love to get there. Just as another milestone, keep it pushing, keep the grind going. Leave a comment and a like on this video if you wouldn't mind. I'd really appreciate that as well, and I look forward to seeing you in Season 3.